Welcome to Whisperer of Madness. If you're enjoying the story, consider liking the video and subscribing. It really helps grow the channel and this community. Ningzhu suddenly stood up, his louder voice overpowering Yuan. Stop spouting nonsense. How could we assassinate you or plot against your monkey pets without evidence? Do you have any evidence? Yuan was taken aback, his eyes turning bloodshot with anger, pointing at Ningzhu, his gaze murderous, killing intent clear. You little thief, you've brought this trouble to my home. You deserve to die, you deserve to die. Ningzhu raised his neck and stepped forward directly, walking around the desk toward Yuan, shouting loudly. Come, come, come. Here is my head, please, Leader Yuan, take it as you wish. As he approached step by step, Yuan was overwhelmed by his aura and wanted to retreat, but the chair behind him blocked his way, causing him to sit down heavily. He, a dignified foundation establishment stage cultivator, was forced into such a position by a young cultivator of the Qi refinement stage. If anyone saw this, his prestige would be completely ruined. Seeing this, Ningzhu laughed heartily but stopped pressuring, taking a few steps back, his tone softening. Leader Yuan, you are a wise man. Since I have been ordered to come here to accept your surrender, I have ways to protect myself, but let's not delve into that. If I suffer even the slightest injury here, what do you think Lord Fei Si will think? What will my Ning family do? How will Flying Disc Workshop retaliate? Yuan was intimidated, gritting his teeth tightly, his fists clenching, fingernails digging into his flesh, blood oozing out. Yet this pain was nothing compared to the humiliation he was experiencing, the seething hatred in his heart. Ningzhu seemingly relaxed completely, with his hands clasped behind his back, pacing leisurely in the small study. If Yuan became angry out of shame and struck as a foundation establishment stage cultivator with rage, Ningzhu's end would be tragic. But he strolled leisurely, because he knew the more composed and confident he appeared now, the more he could intimidate the opponent. Ningzhu raised his head, speaking freely as he began recounting the life experiences of Yuan Yi and Yuan Dasheng, detailing the rise of the Monkey Head Gang and the key battles along the way in great detail. This feeling of being thoroughly understood made Yuan's heart grow cold. Clearly, the opponent was just a mere Qi refinement stage level 3, but in his mind, Ningzhu was like a giant beast opening its mouth, ready to devour him and the entire Monkey Head Gang. Ningzhu approached Yuan again, his gaze sharp, piercing to the heart. Leader Yuan, your father and your monkey uncle struggled all their lives to establish this foundation. Now that it's passed to you, are you going to let it fail? Are you willing to? Are you worthy of your father and your monkey uncle? Yuan glared. My current predicament is all because of you, isn't it? No, you're wrong. Ningzhu waved his hand. Even without us, there would be others. This world is about survival of the fittest. You are weak, so naturally you become the prey of the strong. Otherwise, how did your father and your monkey uncle rise? How was the Monkey Head Gang established? Your current thoughts are the same as those of the failures you've trampled underfoot, aren't they? Stop blaming the heavens and others, Leader Yuan. Such thoughts are too weak. Leave some dignity for your father and your monkey uncle. Yuan still glared, but couldn't say a word. Coming from a gang background, he fundamentally believed in the survival of the fittest, leaving him no room for rebuttal. Ningzhu lifted his head, resuming the topic. Join us, and we can help you, only then will we help you. Yuan took a deep breath. How will you help me? Ningzhu turned around, clasping his hands behind his back, taking a few steps, leaving only his back for Yuan. His tone was ghostly. Are you aware of the relationship between Flying Disc Workshop and Lord Fei Si? Let me tell you a secret, 40% of the profit from selling mechanical monkeys goes to Lord Fei Si. Although Lord Fei Si would never publicly admit it, just a little favor would change your situation entirely. This relationship alone is enough to deter those ambitious elders. Yuan took another deep breath. Resentment surged in his heart once more. So, Flying Disc Workshop is so powerful because it has dealings with Fei Si, because Fei Si supports them. Ugly, truly ugly and corrupt. No wonder my Monkey Head Gang has been bullied so miserably. With a golden core cultivator backing them, especially the ruthless Fei Si, how could we win? The more Yuan thought about it, the more grief-stricken he became, losing all courage. Ningzhu watched every subtle change in Yuan-er's expression and continued. Not only that, we will also sell a large number of mechanical monkeys to you. From now on, you must abandon your monkey pets and switch to using mechanical explosive flame monkeys. Yuan was stunned, then exclaimed, "That's impossible. If I issue such a command, I will be immediately overthrown. They would never obey such a ridiculous order." Ningzhu laughed heartily, having anticipated this, and replied immediately, "Of course, I won't let you lose your position as leader. You only need to tell them that from now on, the business of picking fire persimmons will be exclusively handled by the Monkey Head Gang. Flying Disc Workshop won't touch it. The only condition is that you must use mechanical explosive flame monkeys and abandon all monkey pets." Yuan found it hard to believe. "What did you just say?" Ningzhu chuckled. "You wouldn't think Flying Disc Workshop wants to steal your business, would you? You lack perspective. Your vision is too small. We have a close relationship with Lord Fei Si, intertwined by interests. If we were to steal the business of picking fire persimmons, wouldn't that be competing with the people for benefits? This would greatly damage Lord Fei Si's reputation and will never happen. We only sell mechanical explosive flame monkeys, reducing the risk of picking fire persimmons, decreasing casualties, benefiting the country and the people. This is the true good deed." Yuan-Er's face turned pale, finding the entire scenario utterly absurd. For so long, he had thought that the opponent wanted to steal the Monkey Head Gang's livelihood, thus fighting with all his might, only to realize the opponent's ambition wasn't there at all. Then why were they so tense before, preparing for a great enemy, taking all sorts of actions? Ningzhu seemed to read his thoughts. "Leader Yuan-Er, don't let your mind wander. If you continue using monkey pets, you remain an enemy. If you use mechanical explosive flame monkeys, you become our guest. The difference between an enemy and a guest should be clear, even to a child." According to Lord Fei Si's intentions, in the future, Persimmon Fire City will no longer need such outdated methods of picking fire persimmons as using monkey pets. Each monkey is also a living being. How can you be so cruel? Mechanical monkeys are great, unafraid of death, highly efficient. I assure you, as long as you align with us, we will secretly sell you special models of mechanical monkeys. These monkeys will outperform conventional models in every aspect. This will give your Monkey Head Gang a significant advantage in picking fire persimmons. Yuan-Er's heart sank to its lowest point. He was very clear if he agreed to the condition, he would forever be at the mercy of others. The supply and maintenance of mechanical monkeys would depend on Flying Disc Workshop. The vast Monkey Head Gang would be strangled at the neck, and Flying Disc Workshop could significantly enhance its influence over the entire market through them. The Monkey Head Gang would still have to guard against business competitors, while Flying Disc Workshop sat back, collecting money, watching tigers fight from a distance without getting stained with a drop of blood. What an excellent scheme, truly an excellent scheme, Yuan-Er cried sorrowfully, losing all will to fight. Ningzhu's eyes glimmered darkly. "Leader Yuan-Er, have you made up your mind?" A deep sorrow filled Yuan-Er's heart. At this point, what choice did he have? From the moment the 1,000-year fire persimmon forest exploded, he had lost completely. He had no choice left. So Yuan-Er walked around the desk, standing before Ningzhu. He took a deep breath, suppressing the sorrow and anger in his heart, bowed and greeted in a trembling voice. "Yuan-Er greets Mr. Ning. Yuan-Er, pay respects to Mr. Ning." At the moment Yuan-Er bowed to him, Ningzhu hesitated. He wondered if he should really take the opportunity to subdue the entire Monkey Head Gang for his own use. Yuan Dasheng was a cripple, but his soul entering the palace would undoubtedly be a killer weapon to seize the inheritance of the Immortal Palace. But immediately, Ningzhu calmed down again. One shouldn't covet temporary gains. Swaying Yuan-Er is just taking advantage of the enemy's moment of weakness. In the end, it's not me who subdues him. If Fei Si or any of the other 3 great powers recruit him in the future, will Yuan-Er be loyal to me? Absolutely not. More importantly, even if Yuan-Er is completely loyal to me, can I rely on him to control the Monkey Head Gang? Ningzhu shook his head in his heart. Many gang members were disappointed in Yuan-Er. Can I control Yuan Dasheng through Yuan-Er? Ningzhu shook his head again in his heart. Yuan Dasheng only protected Yuan-Er but rarely listened to him. He had risen from the bottom and had his own great skills and insights. He only suffered from a sneak attack and lost the initiative, unaware that Ningzhu was a great enemy. Once given time to gather intelligence, Yuan Dasheng would, with his experience in battles and wisdom accumulated over the years, realize his true situation. The most likely action for him would be to actively seek refuge with the four great powers, abandoning or even eliminating Ningxiu. I am now so weak, like walking by the edge of a cliff, as fragile as an egg on the verge of breaking. How can I be tempted by prophets and lose my composure? One wrong step, and it would be a fall into the abyss, shattered to pieces. At this point, Ningxiu completely calmed down and was not confused by the false advantage. He reached out his hands, helping Yuan to stand up straight, and praised. Those who understand the times are truly outstanding. He offered comforting words to Yuan, and seeing that the latter's emotions gradually calmed down, he finally revealed his true purpose. Since you have now defected to our side, we will definitely do our utmost to secure your position as the gang leader. Your individual combat power is somewhat weak. According to Lord Fei Xi's plan, we will tailor a mechanism artifact for you. This mechanism will have the combat power of the Foundation establishment stage, allowing you to overpower the other elders in the gang. Oh, Yuan-Er's eyes lit up with surprise, especially the other's attitude of increased support and investment, which made him feel at ease. However, Ningxiu's next words made him once again furious, almost ready to strike someone. Ningxiu nodded and said, "It's good that you agree. Next, hand over Yuan Dasheng to us, and we will create a powerful mechanism monkey for you." Yuan was so angry that he almost jumped up. "No, that's impossible." He immediately refused without any hesitation. Ningxiu immediately frowned. Gang leader Yuan think it through. Only high-quality materials can produce powerful mechanisms. Do you think we seek monkey corpses just to humiliate you? You overestimate yourself. Materials from a monkey are what can make an excellent mechanism monkey. Yuan kept shaking his head. Even so, I would never use my monkey uncles. Ningxiu impatiently waved his hand, rudely interrupting. Enough, Yuan are you still going to have the soft heart of a woman? I'll be frank with you, you must provide the material. Only by taking materials from Yuan Dasheng's corpse can we make a top-notch mechanism monkey to protect you in the future. We need you to remain the leader of the monkey head gang, but what do you think those elders will do? Your combat power is weak, and without a strong guardian, what will you do if an elder hires an assassin to kill you? Yuan was silent. Ningxiu continued. Fools always shed tears when they see a coffin, but by then it will be too late. Since you've already decided to join us, why not do things thoroughly? Yuan shook his head firmly. Mr. Ning, you don't need to persuade me anymore. My monkey uncle's kindness to me is as heavy as a mountain, and his contribution to the gang is immense. I need to take care of him. I'll make sure he lives the last years of his life in peace. If I don't do this, am I still a human? Ningxiu squinted his eyes, feeling a sudden impulse to kill Yuan with one punch and then directly get rid of Yuan Dasheng. He had gone through so much trouble just to get Yuan Dasheng. Now stuck at the final step, it was hard not to be impatient. Rationality told him, though, that he must not act recklessly. Ningxiu took a deep breath, calmed himself, and changed his tone. Gang leader Yuan-Er's virtue truly makes me admire you. I respect such morals and admire people like you, but you are a bit selfish. Yuan stared, utterly confused. With my behavior, I'm still selfish. If I were selfish, I would have agreed to use my monkey uncle as material for mechanisms long ago. Ningxiu continued. Leader, have you ever thought about what your monkey uncle thinks? Yuan was taken aback. Ningxiu, your monkey uncle was brave and fearless, always charging ahead, a true tough guy among tough guys. Do you think he'd prefer to die wrapped in horsehide or die on a bed? I believe that if your monkey uncle truly became a cripple, confined to a bed, he would find his life worse than death. This end-of-life period would only be to satisfy your filial piety. To him, it would be unbearably cruel and incomparable humiliation. Yuan frowned deeply and fell into deep thought. Cold light filled Ningxiu's eyes as he smiled softly, his tone gentle like a breeze. Why don't you discuss it with your monkey uncle? Your monkey uncle has sacrificed so much for you. If he despises such a life, I believe he would be willing to offer himself. He might think, even if I die, I can still accompany and protect you in another form. Why don't you ask him? Yuan-Er's face turned pale, devoid of any color, his eyes vacant, and he murmured, Yes, Mr. Ning, you make a lot of sense. Why don't I directly ask my monkey uncle? Yuan left the small study and went to the master bedroom, where he knelt before the bed. Yuan Dasheng was still in a comatose state. Yuan opened his mouth to speak, but after several attempts, he couldn't get any words out. His once immensely strong and towering figure was now fragile as paper, giving him no sense of security. Yuan Er's thoughts gradually became confused, his eyes vacant, and he unknowingly began to cry. Through tear-blurred eyes, Yuan Er seemed to return to the past. As a child, he climbed all over Yuan Dasheng's body, like scaling a red-black volcano. When he could walk and jump, "Monkey uncle, they're bullying me." Yuan Er brought Yuan Dasheng to sort things out, terrifying the other children into wetting themselves and crying helplessly. While playing in the water, "Hey, monkey uncle, why is mine so small and yours so big?" Little Yuan Er pointed between Yuan Dasheng's legs with a face full of curiosity. A bit older, Yuan Er began to be brave and fierce, curious about one question. "Monkey uncle, who is stronger, you or my dad? Have you two fought? I asked my dad, but he never answers me." After a gang battle victory, Yuan Er ran to Yuan Dasheng, full of admiration and excitement. "Monkey uncle, you're so awesome, so mighty. When can I be like you?" Then more and more things began to change. The harsh and cold reality shattered Yuan Er's illusion that hard work alone could make one exceptional. Cultivation depended on talent. "I will never be as strong as Monkey Uncle. Monkey Uncle is so awesome. Monkey Uncle is too awesome. Monkey Uncle is overly awesome." The once admiring boy had turned into a sullen young man. The same fact that inspired admiration and awe gradually turned into worry and suspicion. "My father relied on Monkey Uncle to create this foundation. When my father is gone, can I control Monkey Uncle?" Yuan Er watched his father's grievous injuries and declining health, growing more worried each day. "Our Monkey Head Gang's greatest combat strength lies with Monkey Uncle. Power is in Monkey Uncle's hands. Is this appropriate?" Monkey Head Gang, Monkey Head Gang. Is it a human gang or a monkey's organization? Watching more and more monkey pets, Yuan Er also felt confused. Seeing the elders trembling in awe before Yuan Dasheng, his emotions were mixed. During gang combat, Yuan Er loudly dissuaded. "No, don't kill him." Yuan Dasheng, already in a frenzy, didn't stop, biting the opposing cultivator in half with his jaw. Their opponent's morale plummeted, and they began to flee. Yuan Er sighed deeply. "Now, there's no turning back. We must annihilate the enemy gang completely." Yuan Dasheng approached, holding half of a cultivator's body, and suddenly handed it to Yuan Er. Yuan Er was startled. Having succeeded in his prank, Yuan Dasheng laughed heartily, but he didn't notice the darkness in Yuan Er's eyes. "Dad, I heard you're looking for a demon cultivator technique for Monkey Uncle. Please don't do this." Yuan Er stormed into the study, shouting. Yuanya's face turned ashen as he angrily retorted. "Shut up! Who's been filling your ears with nonsense?" "Dad, Monkey Uncle's strength is already uncontrollable. Those monkeys he has, calling them pets is putting it mildly. They are the real masters. The cultivators are nothing more than slaves responsible for feeding them. Given the current situation, if Monkey Uncle's power increases even more, things will become dire. At that point, who would the Monkey Head Gang belong to?" Yuan Er desperately continued to persuade. Yuanya's lips trembled slightly, falling into a deathly silence. The foundation of the Monkey Head Gang was his life's work, built through relentless effort. It's easy to conquer a territory, but challenging to keep it. He was old, and even in his youth, he could barely maintain the balance within the gang. Yuan Dasheng, being a magma demon ape, possessed overwhelming strength. In battles, it was an absolute advantage. But once the Monkey Head Gang had established its dominance, with no other factions posing a threat, this advantage turned into an internal concern. Yuan Er was his only bloodline, and the Monkey Head Gang was to be passed down to him. But could he really manage it? Yuan Yi had confidence in himself and was certain of his relationship with Yuan Dasheng. However, he seriously doubted the relationship between Yuan Er and Yuan Dasheng. Yuan Yi pondered for an entire day and night. Finally, with a pale face, he summoned Yuan Er and instructed, "You must always treat your monkey uncle well. Show him even more respect than you do me. Understand?" "Understood." Yuan Er immediately promised, secretly overjoyed. Filled with guilt, Yuan Er indeed treated Monkey Uncle with more respect than before. All the members of the gang also showed Yuan Dasheng more respect. When Yuan Er became the gang leader, his position was awkward. He had to rely on Yuan Dasheng to command respect, but his constant dependence on Yuan Dasheng prevented him from truly earning it. Yuan Er knelt beside the bed, looking up at Yuan Dasheng. "Monkey Uncle, I owe you so much. I know I remember it all in my heart." But the emissary is right. Keeping you alive in this state is the greatest insult to you. I don't want to do this because I respect you. I admire you. I believe if my father knew, he would agree with what I'm doing. I'm sure he would understand me. Our enemies are too powerful. Even the entire monkey head gang can't take them on. Since that's the case, I will join them. My father always said, a true man knows when to yield and when to stand firm. I'm doing this, bearing this humiliation to preserve our foundation. Monkey uncle, you must understand my intentions. The monkey head gang is the result of a lifetime of effort by you and my father. It can't be destroyed in my hands. I want to pass it on to my son and grandson. With this growth, someday we will establish the Yuan family as a cultivator family and become the fifth power in Persimmon Fire City. Monkey uncle, please understand me, don't blame me. You will understand me, won't you? Yuan kept chanting in his heart. Suddenly, Yuan Dasheng slowly opened his eyes. Yuan body shook as if struck by lightning. Yuan Dasheng's eyes were a lifeless gray, muddy and dull. He couldn't see anything or hear, but he still had some sense of smell. He smelled the familiar scent on Yuan Yuan Dasheng tried to get up, but his body was as heavy as a mountain. He tried to lift his hand, but felt very little. Ultimately, he could only slowly stretch out his finger, pointing at Yuan Startled, Yuan fell back onto the ground. The next moment, Yuan Dasheng's finger slowly lowered and there was no breathing left. He was gone. Yuan sat there, stunned for a moment, then suddenly burst into loud sobs, tears flowing uncontrollably. He knelt there, crawling on his knees to reach Yuan Dasheng's corpse and cried out, "Monkey uncle, monkey uncle." He voiced the words his father couldn't say before his death. "Monkey uncle, I'm sorry. Monkey uncle, I'm so sorry." At some point, Ning Zhuo walked out of the small study. He stood behind Yuan watching as Yuan Dasheng lived through his final moments. Finally, Yuan Dasheng was dead. But at the moment of success, Ning Zhuo's joy was far less intense than he had imagined. Ning Zhuo felt conflicted. Yuan Dasheng ended up in this situation entirely because of Ning Zhuo. Yet until his death, he never knew of Ning Zhuo's existence. He didn't even know how he had incurred Ning Zhuo's enmity. And Ning Zhuo didn't actually want to be enemies with Yuan Dasheng. Before Yuan Dasheng stormed the Immortal Palace, they had never even met. However, fate made the Magma Fairy Palace a stage and placed Ning Zhuo and Yuan Dasheng on a death-bound narrow path. One had to die or the other had to perish. No second choice. If I had a choice, Yuan Dasheng, I would rather be your comrade. What a pity. With regret, Ning Zhuo stepped forward to handle Yuan Dasheng's corpse. Frightened, Yuan instinctively reached out to stop him. But Ning Zhuo kicked him aside, finally revealing the disdain and anger in his heart as he muttered, "Move aside." Even though Yuan had reached the foundation establishment stage, what use was such a disposition? When Ning Zhuo saw Yuan Dasheng in the bedroom, he confirmed that Yuan Dasheng hadn't yet taken the late autumn life-preserving pill. Zhuge Xuanji had clearly handed the pill to Yuan but the latter never gave it to Yuan Dasheng. Was it because he had no time? He had plenty of time. From just that, Ning Zhuo deduced Yuan true intentions, which was why he feigned asking for Yuan Dasheng's opinion. As expected, Yuan knelt from the beginning, only calling out in his heart without truly speaking. "Master Yuan please mourn." Ning Zhuo placed the ape's body into his storage bag and prepared to leave. Yuan kneeling on the ground, grasped Ning Zhuo's leg, looking up at him. "When can I see my monkey uncle again? Once the production schedule is finalized, I'll notify you. Don't worry, it will be soon." Ning Zhuo reassured, pulling his leg free and leaving without looking back. He left Yuan alone in the empty bedroom, as still as a statue. With a calm demeanor, Ning Zhuo walked towards the exit of the monkey head gang's base, overhearing the returning members discussing among themselves. All the fire persimmon forest has been harvested, but the black shadow demon cultivator didn't appear. Wasn't he said to be hiding in the fire persimmon forest, trapped by the formation? How could he just disappear? Yes, I was looking forward to a hunt. You should have seen how upset Lord Fei Si looked at the time. Now, every golden core cultivator from each family is searching throughout the fire persimmon forest. Upon hearing this, Ning Zhuo's heart tightened. Damn it. With his sharp mind, he immediately realized he was once again in danger. After leaving the monkey head gang, he hurriedly quickened his pace, racing against time, heading straight to the flying disc workshop. Fire persimmon forest. Where's the black shadow demon cultivator? Kai Dun searched everywhere. His actions mirrored those of the golden core cultivators from the three major families. Fei Si's face turned dark. He had never expected this outcome and ordered harshly, "Find him. Dig 3 feet into the ground if you have to, but find that demon cultivator." To everyone's astonishment, the black shadow demon cultivator had vanished without a trace. Fei Si was furious and humiliated. The mission was a complete failure. All the city residents knew that the city lord's mansion had been mocked. They had made elaborate arrangements, only to end up with nothing. This shouldn't have happened. It shouldn't. Fei Si clenched his teeth and looked into the distance at Zhu Xuanji. After a moment of thought, Fei Si flew toward Zhu Xuanji. Previously, Zhu Xuanji had strongly ordered him to activate the array, saving Yuan Dasheng's life and causing Fei Si to lose face. But now, the disappearance of the black shadow demon cultivator was a matter far larger than Fei Si's personal pride. Fully aware of the situation's gravity, Fei Si set aside his grudges and forced a smile, asking, "Lord Zhu, you observed the entire process. Did your golden eyes see anything?" Zhu Xuanji shook his head. "No discoveries at all. If anyone were hiding, they would have been revealed under my golden eyes. Throughout the entire process, there was no suspicious person. I can only deduce that the black shadow demon cultivator had already left the fire persimmon forest beforehand." Hearing this, Fei Si's brows furrowed deeply, and he instinctively denied it strongly. "No, he must be here." Zhu Xuanji's inference was the most unfavorable for him. Because he was responsible for the fire persimmon forest, it was akin to being the head jailer who let the prisoner escape without knowing. Fei Si had gone to great lengths for this fire persimmon festival, only to end up empty-handed, making the entire city lord's mansion a laughingstock. At this moment, Kai Dun flew over, rebuking loudly, "Fei Si, if you hadn't stopped me back then, I would have killed that demon cultivator. He would have been eliminated that very night. It's all because you insisted on maintaining calm and reducing losses. Now look, the black shadow demon cultivator has escaped." "How exactly have you been managing the fire persimmon forest?" Fei Si snorted coldly. "Let's not talk about anything else. The successful harvest of the fire persimmons, can you at least confirm that this vast fortune has been preserved? Besides, the array was continuously activated, recording everything, and can withstand any scrutiny. If it's found that the black shadow demon cultivator escaped due to my negligence, I will accept the punishment and proactively apologize to the city lord." At this moment, the Zhou family's golden pill ancestor also flew over. "The array's records must, of course, be checked." The Zhou family ancestor's expression was not pleasant either. Although the city lord's mansion was the biggest joke at the moment, these golden core members of the three major families were also fruitless and had lost face. The Zhou family ancestor continued. "The current key is whether the black shadow demon cultivator escaped the array beforehand or slipped away right under our noses today. From my experience in setting up formations, the fire persimmon forest array is dense and intricately connected with the immortal city great array. It is very meticulous. If I were that black shadow demon cultivator, even if I could break the array, it would necessarily cause some disturbance. Could such a silent escape truly be accomplished by a golden core cultivator?" For a moment, Fei Si, Zhu Xuanji, and Kai Dun all fell into silence. All three of them thought of a terrifying possibility. If the black shadow demon cultivator had truly left early, perhaps someone had secretly opened the array and let him go. The highest authority of the immortal city great array was with the city lord, and Fei Si had control over the heavy arrays in the fire persimmon forest. Additionally, the array columns of the immortal city great array were scattered in the residential areas of the three major families. Hence, any of the three major families could also control the array and secretly release the black shadow demon cultivator. If this were true, the situation would be dire. A single golden core demon cultivator acting alone and a scheming cultivator family were two entirely different concepts. Zhu Xuanji looked towards the Zhou family ancestor, secretly thinking, "The city lord's mansion is almost impossible. They have no motive at all." Regarding the three major families, each has its suspicions. On one hand, the city lord's mansion has always had the upper hand in the competition for the magma fairy palace. On the other hand, the three major families certainly do not want to see the city lord gaining the magma fairy palace, and thus introducing the Meng family to reside in the fire persimmon immortal city. If it is indeed one or more of the three families, then the Zhou family is the most suspicious. Formation is Zhou family, weapons are Zheng family, and talismans are Ning family. The Zhou family is most adept at formations. The Zhou family ancestor appeared very open and continued. We can temporarily set aside the possibility that the black shadow demon cultivator escaped earlier. There were indeed some suspicious points during the harvest of the fire persimmons today. Exactly. Kai Dun immediately nodded, knowing what the Zhou family ancestor was referring to. Previously, more than a dozen mechanical monkeys had suddenly gone berserk, breaking free from the control of the Foundation establishment cultivators and attacking the current leader of the monkey head gang, Yuan. This anomaly was all witnessed by the Golden Core cultivators. They remained calm, and Fei Si handled it neatly, directly activating the array to destroy all the mechanical monkeys. The Zhou family ancestor continued. Why did those mechanical monkeys go berserk? Who was controlling them? After the mechanical monkeys were destroyed, the old monkey of the monkey head gang made a mistake, causing the self-destruction of a portion of the 1,000-year-old fire persimmon forest. Was it truly a mistake, or was it influenced by some spell or magical treasure? Did the black shadow demon cultivator use the explosion to divert our attention and escape? Fei Si immediately waved his hand, activating the array to retrieve the images from that time. Golden Core cultivators watched several times, but found nothing suspicious. Fei Si said, I will thoroughly investigate the cause of the mechanical explosive flame monkey's loss of control. Zhu Xuanji then said, I monitored the entire situation with my golden eyes and confirmed that the old monkey indeed made a mistake. Kai Dun frowned. It's strange. That old monkey is the foundation of the monkey head gang and has been harvesting fire persimmons for many years. Initially, there were indeed some errors. But in recent years, it has always completed the task perfectly. Why would it make a mistake this time? After considering for a while, Fei Si said, since it is flesh and blood, mistakes are inevitable. The monkey head gang has suffered many targeted attacks and Yuan was previously ambushed. The old monkey might have been unsettled, leading to a mistake. It's very possible. At this point, Fei Si thought of Ning Zhuo. Immediately, he thought of his 40% profit share. He began to feel that this 40% profit share was a bit burdensome. The Zhou family ancestor then said, do you think the black shadow demon cultivator could be hiding inside the old monkey's body? Whether it was the mechanical monkeys suddenly going berserk or the old monkey making a mistake, it resulted in a chain reaction of explosions. The flames blocked our sight, and in that moment, the black shadow demon cultivator could have killed the old monkey and hidden inside its body. On this note, the Zhou family ancestor turned his gaze to Zhu Xuanji. There is one thing I don't understand and dare to ask, Lord Zhu. Why did you save that old monkey? For a moment, everyone's gaze also turned to Zhu Xuanji. A trace of schadenfreude flashed in Fei Si's eyes. Zhu Xuanji let out a cold snort. You dare to suspect me first. I used my golden eyes to inspect, seeing through any barriers. Do you think mere flames can hide anything from me? I saw that the old monkey had cultivated deeply in magical powers but never used them. He rather sacrificed his own life to protect his master. Such loyalty and righteousness. If it were us humans, how many of us could do the same? Moved by this, I didn't want him to die and decided to save him. At this, Zhu Xuanji's tone grew heavier, but because I personally treated him, not only using my golden eyes but also infused mana into his body. Hence, I am certain that apart from his severe injuries, there is absolutely no presence of any black shadow demon cultivator hidden within. The crowd saw Zhu Xuanji's firm assertion and fell silent again. If this was true, then there were no doubts left. The more likely scenario was that someone secretly released the black shadow demon cultivator in advance. Fei Si gradually frowned, opening his mouth to speak before closing it again. The Zhou family's elder also frowned but continued to ask, Lord Zhu, forgive my boldness, are you absolutely certain? Is there no other spell, divine skill, or something else in this world that can hide from your golden eyes and mana inspection? Zhu Xuanji let out a cold laugh. What you're saying is meaningless. Who can guarantee absolute certainty? In this world, there are countless talents, endless prodigies, innumerable spells, divine skills, and magical treasures. How can we know them all? I can only tell you that my golden eyes talent is close to divine skill. Joining the Divine Hunter office for over a decade, I have encountered only 3 golden core cultivators who could resist my golden eye insight. Below the golden core level, no living being has ever escaped my sight. Crowd fell silent once more. Zhuge Xuanji, eager to clear his own doubts, suggested, "Since there are those who do not trust me, it's fine. Let's go find that old monkey now and have everyone inspect him. How about that?" "That makes sense," Kai Dun nodded. "Indeed," the Zhou family elder agreed too. Fei Si felt a sudden chill in his heart. He thought again of Ning Zhuo. Earlier, Ning Zhuo proactively suggested convincing Yuan to surrender through threats and persuasion to kill that old monkey. How far had that plan gone? Thinking about the token in Ning Zhuo's possession, Fei Si grew anxious. He maintained a calm exterior. "I also have my doubts. Witnessing it with my own eyes would be better. Kai Dun, you stay here to maintain order and continue the search with the other golden core cultivators. The underground might still hide someone. Don't let anyone slip through." Fei Si then invited the Zhou family elder and Zhuge Xuanji, along with himself, to search for Yuan Dasheng. Kai Dun grumbled, "Why must I stay here? You're in charge." Fei Si's reply left no room for argument. "The city lord appointed me to oversee the Fire Persimmon Festival. Are you challenging my authority?" Kai Dun snorted but had to comply. The 3 golden core cultivators then flew to the Monkey Head Gang's headquarters. Yuan was still kneeling by the bed, his expression dazed and eyes lifeless. Suddenly, the 3 golden core cultivators descended from the sky, shattering the roof and looking down at him. Yuan shuddered in fear. "Where's that old monkey of yours?" Zhuge Xuanji used his divine sense to scan the courtyard, his heart filling with foreboding. Yuan face turned pale and he wept bitterly. "Dead. My uncle monkey is dead." Zhuge Xuanji's eyes gleamed with golden light as he sternly questioned, "I gave you the late autumn life-saving pill. How did the old monkey die?" Yuan shivered like a leaf, not daring to hide anything, trembling as he recounted everything. Zhuge Xuanji's face turned pale with anger as he pointed at Yuan "You ungrateful wretch." He then turned to Fei Si. "Well done, Fei Si. You've really played your hand well." Fei Si inwardly gloated. "I didn't expect Ning Zhuo to act so swiftly. Well done." Feeling pleased, he narrowed his eyes and spoke slowly. "Thank you, Lord Zhu, for the praise. I did this for the sake of Fire Persimmon Immortal City. After all, always using the monkey pets to pick fire persimmons is rather cruel. The 3 ancestral masters were compassionate. If not for him leaving behind the Magma Fairy Palace, Fire Persimmon Mountain wouldn't be the blessing it is today. As successors, we must understand the spirit of the 3 ancestral masters, spare these monkeys, and use mechanism artifacts instead. It is an act of mercy and benevolence for all." Fei Si feigned ignorance, pretending he missed the irony in Zhuge Xuanji's tone, and praised himself profusely. Zhuge Xuanji's breath became labored, and his face turned pale blue with anger. Fei Si felt even more satisfied. This was not merely an issue of face. Conflicts between righteous cultivators were not as direct and bloody as those with demon cultivators. These regulated confrontations were indicators of a cultivator's strength. Fame often led to real benefits. Fei Si, being publicly pressured by Zhuge Xuanji into revealing the array, showed weakness that might sway future loyalty towards Zhuge Xuanji, damaging Fei Si's authority and influence. In essence, it also reduced the influence of the city lord's mansion and the current city lord, Meng Qi. Zhuge Xuanji represented the royal family and the divine hunter office, inherently at odds with Meng Qi's faction. If Fei Si didn't counteract and properly retaliate within the rules, it would disappoint Meng Qi. Now, having regained some footing, relieved the prior negative impact, Fei Si felt at ease. The Zhou family elder, frowning on the side, had no desire to get entangled in the rivalry between Fei Si and Zhuge Xuanji. As a third party, it was too early to take a side. He was more interested in resolving the issue with the Black Shadow Demon Cultivator, stating, "Since the old monkey has been taken away, why remain here?" "Brother Fei, where is your messenger now?" the Zhou family elder asked Fei Si. The Immortal City Great Array greatly suppressed divine senses, but Fei Si used his privileges, expanding his divine sense with the array's help, sensing the token. "Follow me!" Fei Si led the way, departing the Monkey Head Gang. Zhuge Xuanji and the Zhou family elder followed close behind. 3 streaks of light crossed the sky, landing at the Flying Disc Workshop. Zhuge Xuanji gestured with a hand, and an invisible force lifted the roof, revealing Ning Zhuo and Chen Cha. On the mechanical platform lay the old monkey, its essence blood drained, about to be dismembered. "Stop immediately," the Zhou family elder commanded. Ningxiu and Chen Cha, faces full of surprise, hurriedly greeted them. The three golden core cultivators ignored them, spreading their divine senses to inspect Yuan Dasheng's corpse. No trace of a hidden demon cultivator was found. Indeed, he had cultivated demonic powers, seemingly quite advanced, the Zhou family elder noted. Zhuge Xuanji verified his earlier findings, casting a regretful glance at the old monkey's body before turning to Ningxiu. You, boy, have a sharp tongue. Yuan is a fool, easily swayed by you. Ningxiu took a deep breath, nervously saying, Lord Zhu, please reconsider. My collaboration with Yuan was mutually beneficial. I sought to make money, Yuan to maintain his position as leader. Please forgive my boldness, but Lord, you acted with compassion, saving the old monkey. But was it truly in its best interest? Given its loyalty, it would rather not be a burden to its master, would it? HMPH, sharp-tongued. Zhuge Xuanji's opinion of Ningxiu plummeted. Fei Si, stroking his beard, found himself increasingly admiring Ningxiu. Finding no suspicious traces, the three golden core cultivators departed swiftly. Fei Si returned to the fire persimmon forest, but Zhuge Xuanji paused midway. He furrowed his brows, deep in thought. There's something that doesn't feel right. You go ahead, I need to go back, Zhuge Xuanji said, turning halfway. Fei Si hurriedly said, together. The Zhou family's elder naturally didn't want to be left behind and followed closely. Zhu Divine Hunter, what have you discovered? Zhuge Xuanji just shook his head. Before long, the three returned to the flying disc workshop. Several cultivators from the workshop were repairing the roof. Zhuge Xuanji waved his hand, and the roof opened up again. The three golden core cultivators descended slowly. Ah, my lords! Ningxiu and Chen Cha bowed once more. Zhuge Xuanji ignored them and walked straight to Yuan Dasheng's corpse, taking a bottle of potion from his coat. As he uncorked the bottle, the fragrance of the elixir spread, causing everyone to feel a shock in their hearts. Fei Si exclaimed, a top-grade elixir. Top-grade elixirs were extremely rare. Every pill required the right time, place, and people to be successfully crafted, a feat not easily replicated by even the most skilled alchemists. Zhuge Xuanji had a solemn expression. He didn't hesitate to use this treasured item to verify his suspicions. All eyes were on him as he carefully dropped a single drop of the potion. The potion seeped into Yuan Dasheng's corpse instantly. Zhuge Xuanji and the others waited for a while, but nothing changed. Zhuge Xuanji sighed. This old ape hadn't been influenced by any external force recently. The explosion in the fire persimmon forest was truly its own mistake. Fei Si's face fell, as if to say, is that it? The Zhou family's elder nodded lightly. Zhuge Xuanji didn't look at anyone and turned to leave, leaping into the air. Fei Si and the Zhou family's elder followed suit. The three golden core cultivators left again. Ningxiu and Chen Cha continued to handle Yuan Dasheng's corpse. Chen Cha noticed that Ningxiu was moving slowly, his face pale and his breath weak. Concerned, he said, Little Zhuo, you've been making mechanical monkeys these past few days, participating in the Fire Persimmon Festival, and under Fei Si's command, you pressured Yuan into handing over Yuan Dasheng. Finally, you faced the pressure of three golden core cultivators twice. You've worked too hard. Go home and rest well. I'll take care of this. Ningxiu forced a smile and wiped the fine sweat from his forehead. Let me catch my breath first. He stopped his work and found a stool to sit down and rest. A strong sense of fear washed over him, making fine cold sweat bead on his forehead again. Moments ago, the situation was extremely dangerous. Just a little more, just a little more. He had just extracted all the blood from Yuan Dasheng's body when the three golden core cultivators arrived to investigate the corpse. Afterward, the three golden core cultivators left and returned. If Ningxiu had truly used the Buddha Heart Demon Seal to influence Yuan Dasheng, it would have been catastrophic. Time rewound to a few days earlier. To deal with the life-or-death crisis, Ningxiu racked his brains, exhausting all his thoughts and energy. Yuan Dasheng was powerful. He was guarded by the monkey head gang. A head-on clash would be a strategy of last resort. Borrowing someone else's power to kill would require exposing Yuan Dasheng to other forces. Not to mention how difficult it would be to manipulate other forces against the monkey head gang. If someone discovered Yuan Dasheng's true value, Ningxiu would ultimately be harming himself. The biggest obstacle was Zhuge Xuanji. Zhuge Xuanji mastered the trace origin technique. If Ningzhu used the Buddha Heart Demon Seal to directly influence Yuan Dasheng, Zhu Xuanji could trace the cause back to Ningzhu just by investigating Yuan Dasheng's corpse. This would be akin to exposing himself. How can I save myself? Ningzhu pondered deeply, racking his brain. He fell into the abyss of thought. A strong sense of loneliness enveloped him, making him feel abandoned by the whole world. No one knew his true plight. He couldn't confide in anyone or rely on anyone. Fate was cold and cruel, placing a formidable enemy like Yuan Dasheng before him for a life-and-death confrontation. Looking at the bigger picture, he could only fight alone. While considering strategies, strong emotions always welled up within him. Helplessness, powerlessness, disappointment, despair, the urge to survive, anger, hatred, a sense of duty to his mother's last wishes, a rebellious challenge. Ningzhu had to constantly guard against these emotions, trying to eliminate their interference and think calmly and objectively. He had to find possibilities in the midst of impossibility, and he had to succeed in one go, leaving no flaws. Any flaw in the design would surely backfire, leading to his demise. I still have a lot of key information to investigate. For instance, how exactly did it acquire the demon-infused bloodline technique? How many layers does it have? Wait. The demon-infused bloodline technique. Lost in thought, Ningzhu was suddenly enlightened, his eyes gleaming. Yes, the demon-infused bloodline technique. This demonic technique, once activated, could draw out blood qi, condensing it into blood qi fascia. When used on oneself, it enhanced mobility and provided some defense. When used on others, it could erode and pollute their blood qi with one's own. By creating a significant amount of blood qi fascia inside and out, one could imprison and even control them. At that moment, Ningzhu seemed to see a glimmer of hope in endless darkness. I can use blood qi to infiltrate and influence it. Of course not my blood qi. Yuan Dasheng would definitely detect the clash of foreign blood qi. I can use its own blood qi. Naturally, Ningzhu couldn't draw blood from Yuan Dasheng, but the latter had many monkey minions. Even though these monkeys carry the blood of their mothers, if I collect enough, I can use alchemical means to purify and refine the blood qi closest to Yuan Dasheng's own. As Ningzhu thought of this, he faced another problem. Could Yuan Dasheng detect this same source blood qi? Could it sense such subtle details? Delving deeper, Ningzhu felt the possibility was low. Yuan Dasheng practiced two cultivation techniques. One was the demon-infused bloodline technique, with origins unknown, at least at the third level of essence refining. The other was the 5 elements qi regulation art, gained from the Dharma transmission bell, cultivated to the peak of the third level of qi refinement, enabling soul entry into the Immortal palace. Besides these, it was impossible for it to practice other techniques. To enter the Immortal palace during the qi refinement realm, one had to scatter any other techniques, unless it was the mirror stand spirit communication technique, the 5 elements qi regulation art, or the demon-infused bloodline technique. The 5 elements qi regulation art, reaching the peak of the third level of qi refinement, triggered the soul entry mechanism into the Immortal palace. If Yuan Dasheng had other techniques, it could only be the mirror stand spirit communication technique. If it had such a spirit refining cultivation, it would surely show up in the rankings. But on the spirit refining leaderboard, only Ningzhu's alias was listed. Without a spirit refining technique, relying solely on 5 elements mana and the demon-infused bloodline technique, it couldn't perceive such subtleties. According to the information, Yuan Dasheng wasn't proficient in using magic artifacts and preferred close combat to maximize physical prowess. Given the circumstances, this gamble has fair odds. Ningzhu had no other choice and could only bet that Yuan Dasheng had no additional means to sense intricacies. After understanding everything, Ningzhu began to implement his plan. He spent a fortune continuing to hunt for wild monkeys and then hired a demon cultivator to poison the monkey head gang's monkeys, ultimately staging a failed assassination attempt on Yuan Er. Yuan Er and Yuan Dasheng felt immense pressure, retreating to defensive positions, allowing Ningzhu's first step of the plan to succeed. Seizing the opportunity, Ningzhu played the part of a villain in front of Fei Si, causing Fei Si to misjudge him. Ningzhu actively offered a 40% profit cut to gain access to the monkey head gang's monkey carcasses. He gathered their essence blood and refined it, obtaining Yuan Dasheng's blood qi. He also deliberately participated in the mechanical workshop, hastening the production of mechanical monkeys and personally crafting a large number of inferior mechanical explosive flame monkeys. He secretly used the blood qi and the demon-infused bloodline technique to add the blood qi to the mechanical explosive flame monkeys. On the day of the Fire Persimmon Festival, Ningxiu was positioned halfway up the mountain, surrounded by a formation. He took the risk of using a heart seal to control the mechanical monkeys, making them intentionally attack Yuan-Er. The mechanical monkeys were destroyed by Fei Si's formation, but the latent blood qi had already attached to Yuan-Er. Yuan-Er, frightened, reunited with Yuan Dasheng. Yuan Dasheng was thereby contaminated and infiltrated. Ningxiu had bet correctly. Yuan Dasheng indeed couldn't detect the subtle presence of the blood qi, or maybe he was too worried about Yuan-Er at the time to notice the minute amount of blood qi within him. Though the quantity of the blood qi was minimal, it affected Yuan Dasheng's fingers at a critical moment, causing his mistake. The 1,000-year fire persimmon forest exploded. The intricacy of Ningxiu's trap was such that, even employing his golden eyes, Zhuge Xuanji couldn't detect the blood qi. Right under his nose, Ningxiu succeeded in his plot. However, Zhuge Xuanji saved Yuan Dasheng, causing Ningxiu to temporarily lose his composure. He almost thought he had been discovered. The fact that Yuan Dasheng survived, albeit barely, worried Ningxiu even more. Yuan Dasheng's body was intact, contrary to his expectations of being blown to pieces. Especially with Yuan Dasheng's 10 fingers remaining whole, Ningxiu realized he had left a flaw. When Zhuge Xuanji was saving Yuan Dasheng, he wasn't concerned about such details. The blood qi provided the perfect disguise, so he didn't notice the anomaly in Yuan Dasheng's fingers. But if they continued to investigate afterwards, examining inch by inch, would they not find it? Ningxiu didn't dare to gamble. Thus, Ningxiu had to quickly kill Yuan Dasheng to erase this flaw. Ningxiu couldn't act in his own name, as he was merely at the qi refinement state and couldn't bear Zhuge Xuanji's potential retaliation. I can use Fei Si's name to make Zhuge Xuanji wary of Fei Si afterwards, thus identifying me as the executor rather than the mastermind. Ningxiu immersed himself in the scheme, disregarded his safety, successfully persuaded others, and eventually triumphed. Just as he had anticipated, Zhuge Xuanji, upon learning of the situation, identified Fei Si as the mastermind. Even better, Fei Si himself thought he was the mastermind. In the end, it worked out as I planned. In the mechanical workshop, Ningxiu sighed. He came back to his senses, feeling much calmer and his emotions restored to normal. Zhuge Xuanji and the others didn't know that they were incredibly close to discovering a critical clue, but just that little gap was enough to bury the truth. A miss by an inch, an error by a mile. For now, I can continue to hide. Ningxiu wiped the cold sweat from his forehead and exhaled lightly. It was truly not easy. The entire process had no physical confrontations but was like walking a tightrope on the edge of a cliff. Several times, Ningxiu almost lost his composure. He stood up. "Old Chen, I want to handle Yuan Dasheng's corpse myself. Lord Fei Si assigned me this task, and I want to make an effort." Even though all the essence blood had been extracted and the flaw was gone, Ningxiu cautiously didn't want Yuan Dasheng's body to fall into others' hands. "You," Chen Cha sighed. "Very well, I'll pack it up for you. Take a good rest. The corpse has been pre-treated and can be preserved for a long time. No need to rush. It's not worth it to tire yourself out." Ningxiu bowed in thanks. "Thank you, old Chen." Fei Si, Zhuge Xuanji, and the others returned to the fire persimmon forest and continued digging. Not just digging 3 feet into the ground, but 3 zhang deep. Meanwhile, several golden core cultivators took turns using various spells and magic artifacts to investigate. There was no sign of activity. Fei Si's face was stern as water. He had a premonition that the black shadow demon cultivator had really escaped and wouldn't appear again. Given the current situation, he had to keep digging, even if it meant turning the mountain upside down. The logic was simple. If he messed up this task, he at least had to show that he had worked hard, so the city lord would know that he had put in effort despite lacking success. I also repaid Zhuge Xuanji by making him embarrassed this time. So, the issue shouldn't be too big. Fei Si considered his situation and naturally thought of Ningxiu. He narrowed his eyes, feeling slightly complex emotions. From today's events, he saw the potential in Ningxiu. Ningxiu, being merely at the qi refinement realm, dared to venture into the Monkey Head Gang's territory, intimidating and tempting the Foundation establishment stage Yuan to abandon Yuan Dasheng. From this event, Ning Zhu indeed showed capability and courage. Fei Si was also well aware that Ning Zhu acted this way out of personal interests. But Fei Si didn't mind. In fact, he felt he understood Ning Zhu better because of this, feeling a sense of safety and control over him. These feelings made him appreciate the young member of the Ning family even more. Really reminds me of myself when I was young. And very perceptive. I just don't know if it's him causing the mechanical monkeys to revolt, attacking Yuan during the Fire Persimmon Festival. Fei Si wasn't foolish, maintaining this suspicion in his heart. In his view, Ning Zhu had a strong motive. Of course, he also heard Ning Zhu and Chen Cha defending this matter. When his subordinates reported to him, it all sounded very reasonable. But the suspicion was never entirely dispelled. I don't know anything about mechanical techniques. Maybe there's a way for Ning Zhu to control the mechanical monkeys. Even if he couldn't control them, wasn't Chen Cha at the Foundation establishment stage? If not an accomplice, maybe Ning Zhu offered a high price and hired some demon cultivators. As an official, Fei Si naturally suspected everything, regardless of evidence. Of course, Fei Si inclined more towards believing the mechanical monkeys were secretly controlled by the Black Shadow demon cultivator, and the latter had successfully escaped that day under everyone's watch. He leaned towards this hypothesis because it was most beneficial to him. The Black Shadow demon cultivator deceived nearly all the Golden Core cultivators in the city. Such strength. Therefore, Fei Si's failure would be easier for the city lord to accept. You see, even Zhu Xuanji with his golden eyes couldn't detect the Black Shadow demon cultivator. How could Fei Si do anything? Fei Si began racking his brains on how to solidify this hypothesis and how to report it to the city lord. As for the truth, he didn't care at all. Having managed the affairs of the Fire Persimmon Immortal City for so many years, hadn't he handled enough wrongful cases? I'm an official, not from the Divine Hunter Office. Investigating the truth was Zhu Xuanji's objective and responsibility. Fei Si just wanted to maintain the old order of Fire Persimmon Immortal City, follow City Lord Meng Kun's direction, and protect his own authority and interests. The search continued for a day and a night, but the numerous Golden Core cultivators still failed to uncover the Black Shadow demon cultivator. Faced with this fact, the four major forces of Fire Persimmon Immortal City were all disgraced. The lockdown of the Immortal City had not been lifted, but the lockdown could not stop the swirling rumors and the surging undercurrents. Zhu Xuanji asked Fei Si for some mechanism fragments. These fragments all came from the runaway, riotous mechanism monkeys that had attacked Yuan. Since the Black Shadow demon cultivator had not shown up, these mechanism fragments became the only clues. Zhu Xuanji tinkered with these fragments. He had also obtained the design blueprints of the explosive flame monkey. He glanced at them and memorized them quickly. Spending the time it took to brew half a cup of tea, he tried to piece together 3 mechanism monkeys from the fragments he had. The mechanism explosive flame monkeys were all badly damaged, barely able to stand in front of him. Zhu Xuanji took out control wires, infused them with mana, and began to manipulate these mechanism explosive flame monkeys. If Fei Si had seen this, he would surely be astonished. So Zhu Xuanji had this skill as well. Zhu Xuanji had his own expertise in mechanical techniques, and this was one of the reasons he had been chosen to investigate the case. Moments later, Zhu Xuanji put away all the control wires inside, not finding any valuable clues. Let's review this again. Zhu Xuanji closed his eyes and reviewed his investigation process. First the mechanism monkeys, then the 1,000 catty fire essence, and finally the Black Shadow demon cultivator. Using the mechanism monkeys for self-detonation was clearly to guard against the trace origin technique. There's no trace of the 1,000 catty fire essence in the market. If the 4 major forces did it, it would be easy to understand. The disappearance of the Black Shadow demon cultivator most likely means there was an insider who secretly released him. All the clues suggested to Zhu Xuanji that one of the 3 major families within Fire Persimmon Immortal City might be the mastermind behind the Magma Fairy Palace explosion, and the one posing as the Black Shadow Demon Cultivator. But if the Black Shadow Demon Cultivator had already escaped, why would they trigger the mechanism monkey's explosion during the Fire Persimmon Festival to frame the Monkey Head Gang? Wouldn't that be unnecessary? As Zhu Xuanji delved deeper into his thoughts, he pondered. Perhaps the other party wanted to disguise themselves and create the illusion that the Black Shadow Demon Cultivator was present on the scene. In addition, the other party might have eliminated the old monkey because it had been performing too prominently. Publicly getting rid of it could weaken the prestige of the city lord's mansion. Lastly, the other party might also want to confuse me and drag down my investigation progress. Bang! Zhu Xuanji clenched his fist and struck the jade table. He felt provoked by his enemy. These mechanism monkey fragments seemed to mock his incompetence, as if saying, "Come investigate, I left you clues." But Zhu Xuanji had already learned his lesson from the mechanism monkeys. He knew that if the other party did this, he was unlikely to find anything out and would only waste his precious time and energy. If the mechanism monkeys were a provocation from the other party, then did the old monkey really make a mistake? Zhu Xuanji had thought of this layer, which was why he turned back midway on the day of the Fire Persimmon Festival, even using the best elixir to verify if the old monkey's mind had been influenced. Zhu Xuanji's verification result was negative. After pondering for a long time, he slowly opened his eyes, thinking, the most suspicious thing is still that explosion. It was late at night. Zhu Xuanji concealed his presence and returned to the Monkey Head Gang's base, where he used a spell to put Yuan into a deep sleep. Then, he took out the best elixir and carefully gave Yuan a drop, but saw no effect. Zhu Xuanji sighed in disappointment. What was I thinking? The chances of Yuan's mind being influenced are too small. HMPH, this scoundrel even wasted a drop of my best elixir. Looking at the sleeping Yuan, Zhu Xuanji was in a bad mood. As he turned to leave, he flicked his sleeve, and the air current struck Yuan's cheek with a crisp slap sound. Zhu Xuanji quietly distanced himself from the Monkey Head Gang's base, under the starry sky, heading to the top of Persimmon Mountain to see the city lord. Mengqi City Lord, I need to review all the records and thoroughly investigate everyone who has entered and exited the Magma Fairy Palace over the years. Ningzhu returned home, rested for a while, and patiently waited until late at night. Then, he donned the Iron Han armor and once again disguised himself as the youthful guest. He transported himself to the dungeon and saw Han Ming. As soon as he pushed open the cell door, he saw Han Ming squatting on the ground, scratching his head and ears in an unbecoming manner. Han Ming shuddered, hurriedly stood up, waved at Ningzhu and said in a terrified voice, "Sir, please don't give me any more monkey souls. My soul needs to digest and purify. Now my soul has become deformed, taking on many monkey characteristics. My behavior has also unconsciously changed." Ningzhu nodded. He knew he couldn't run the well dry and gently said, "You have been working hard lately. Next, you only need to absorb this old monkey. I will give you a break so that you can rest for a while." Ningzhu had been frantically acquiring wild monkeys and handing them over to Han Ming to absorb. Because of this, Ningzhu's soul's foundation had increased more than 80 times since he first encountered Han Ming. Han Ming's condition had dramatically declined, and Ningzhu could see it. Bang! Yuan Dasheng's corpse was taken out of the storage bag and thrown to the ground. Han Ming was startled, goosebumps rising. At first glance, she felt this old monkey was extraordinary. "Devour its soul, and you can take a break," Ningzhu said. When handling the corpse, Ningzhu had deliberately worn down Yuan Dasheng's soul and imprisoned it within the corpse. Since Yuan Dasheng had not practiced any soul-related cultivation techniques, he was at Ningzhu's mercy, but doing so still carried risks. The best option for Ningzhu was to have Han Ming absorb it and then later absorb from Han Ming, maximizing the use of this prize. "Thank you, sir, for your kindness." Han Ming swallowed a bit of saliva and began to cast the soul absorption technique. But the next moment, Yuan Dasheng's corpse emitted a flash of golden light. Thump! Han Ming spat out a mouthful of blood, her eyes rolled back, and she fainted on the spot. Ningzhu was taken aback, immediately controlling several small puppets to provide aid while cautiously examining Yuan Dasheng's corpse. Han Ming quickly regained consciousness and shouted in a panic, righteous golden firmness. This is superior talent." Ningzhu raised his eyebrows in astonishment. "Superior talent? Does this old monkey have immortal aptitude? Are you sure? Han Ming nodded, staring at the old monkey's corpse with determination. Absolutely no mistake. I've thoroughly studied the sex records and confirmed this feature as righteous golden firmness. The possessor is naturally loyal and unwavering, with an indomitable spirit. Their entire skeleton is the hardest, comparable to diamond, making their body strong and resilient. The soul adheres to the bones, making it steadfast and unyielding, hardly influenced by external forces. In my current state, I can't absorb its soul. Even at my peak, I might not succeed. At that moment, Han Ming recognized the identity of the old monkey, sighing, To think that the old monkey of the monkey head gang, Yuanya's pet, actually had immortal aptitude. Han Ming then froze. She quickly raised her head, looking at Ning Zhu with her eyes shining brightly. Han Ming seemed to have thought of something, looking at Ning Zhu, her eyes shining brightly, full of inquisitiveness. She swallowed a mouthful of saliva and cautiously asked, Dare I ask, sir, did you eliminate this old ape? Under the mask, Ning Zhu's eyes narrowed slightly. And what if I did? Han Ming immediately took a deep breath, adjusted her posture, and knelt on both knees, bowing deeply to Ning Zhu. Sir, this young woman is willing to be your maidservant, willing to sign a soul contract and serve you for life. Ning Zhu couldn't help but frown, feeling somewhat puzzled by Han Ming's display. Initially, when Ning Zhu had captured Han Ming alive to provide him with soul essence, she had been extremely repulsed and resentful of Ning Zhu. Later, her attitude had softened because she feared death and had no choice but to submit. But now, Ning Zhu could sense her genuine sincerity, her heartfelt submission. Of course, Ning Zhu's feelings might have been mistaken, but Han Ming's attitude indeed gave him the sense that there was a fundamental change. Why? Ning Zhu looked down at Han Ming and asked indifferently. Han Ming took a deep breath, straightened her upper body while still kneeling on the ground, and looked up at Ning Zhu. Sir, are you aware of qi numbers? Ning Zhu frowned, pondered for a moment, and replied, I know a little. Qi numbers refer to breathing. From the moment we are born, we start to breathe. When our life ends, our breathing stops. The number of breaths we take is our qi number. Therefore, many cultivators do not advocate fighting, always maintaining a peaceful mind. Because fighting causes injuries that greatly reduce qi numbers. Intense emotions like anger, fear, despair, or ecstasy also make breathing rapid, reducing qi numbers. Hence, many cultivators emphasize not contending, staying calm and peaceful, and thereby often living long lives. Han Ming nodded. This explanation of qi numbers indeed spreads widely in the cultivation community. It does reveal some essence, but it's still not enough. I was fortunate to read a volume of a classic in the sect, named On Qi Numbers, Volume 1, a secret tome from the Heavenly Track Mansion. Ning Zhu raised his eyebrows slightly. He had heard of the Heavenly Track Mansion. It was a super sect, extremely mysterious, with few disciples. But whenever a disciple appeared in the world, they often brought immense changes to the entire cultivation world. Because each generation's disciple would choose a true destined one, guiding the grand momentum, leading to the destruction of old cultivation kingdoms and the establishment of new ones. Ning Zhu inwardly sighed. The soul-devouring sect to which Han Ming belongs is indeed a powerful demon sect, having such high-quality tomes in their collection. While he himself, over the past dozen years, had merely read in the Ning family's public library, hardly the secret library. Go on, Ning Zhu said. Han Ming swallowed a mouthful of saliva, still kneeling on the ground. On Qi Numbers says that everyone's Qi numbers are different. Some have more, some have less, some are strong, some are weak. The higher the spirit root, the higher the talent, the more and stronger the Qi numbers. Among them, superior talent is called immortal aptitude, with the most and strongest Qi numbers. Those with immortal aptitude often encounter continuous benefactors and opportunities falling into their laps. They will never easily fall into desperate situations. There is always a threat of life. If they grasp it, they can barely survive, turning misfortune into blessing. People with ordinary Qi numbers, when dealing with immortal aptitude individuals, always encounter various accidents, either making mistakes themselves or being interfered with by external forces, leading to ultimate failure. Hearing this, Ning Zhu's heart was slightly moved, somewhat understanding the reason behind Han Ming's attitude shift. Interesting, don't stop. Yes, Han Ming continued, I remember on Qi numbers listed many examples, all of which happened in reality. Many immortal aptitude individuals suffered all kinds of suppression. As long as they could endure it and adapt, they generally experienced rapid improvement in some aspect due to the suppression. And those who dealt with immortal aptitude individuals often met a bad end. In the process of dealing with immortal aptitude individuals, they would lose Qi numbers, affecting their intellect, falling into confusion and making all sorts of wrong judgments and actions. In the end, they brought suffering upon themselves and sought their own doom. Immortal aptitude individuals cannot be slaughtered by ordinary people. At this point, Han Ming looked at Ningxiu, the youthful guest, with obvious fervor in her eyes. I understand your meaning. Ningxiu habitually maintained humility. However, although I eliminated Yuan Dasheng this time, it was also with external assistance. This behavior may have added my Qi numbers to others, collectively overwhelming Yuan Dasheng. Han Ming immediately shook her head. Sir, according to on Qi numbers, when two parties cooperate, the Qi numbers do not simply add up. Sometimes they even reduce each other due to internal friction. On Qi numbers gives the example of Naixing Feng and Chu Ligan. You should know that both are immortal aptitude individuals and were mutual enemies. At first, Naixing Feng didn't take Chu Ligan seriously and sent subordinates to continuously hunt him down. Chu Ligan, through numerous pursuits, honed himself, growing stronger with each battle, ultimately turning the tables and annihilating Naixing Feng. Their struggle was widely circulated in the cultivation world. The conflict between the two led to the fall of one super sect and the rise of another. Han Ming sighed. Immortal aptitude individuals appear only once in a million cultivators. This is based on the number of cultivators, not a million ordinary people. Every immortal aptitude individual's Qi number is exceptionally strong, naturally having serendipities. Even if two upper-class talents work together with utmost sincerity, their combined Qi numbers are far inferior to a single superior talent. I see. Ningxiu coldly snorted. You figured it out. Indeed, I am a superior talent. Han Ming was stunned, then overjoyed, bowing again. Sir, this young woman is willing to be your maidservant and serve you wholeheartedly. She had already submitted before. This time, deducing that Ningxiu possessed immortal aptitude, her pride as part of a major demon sect vanished. It must be known that there were no more than 10 immortal aptitude individuals in a major demon sect. Allying with someone like this promised a great future. Of course, Han Ming's action was also driven by fear. During this period, she had devoured too many monkey souls. She had no desire to become a female monkey. Ningxiu nodded slightly. He himself was unsure about his hidden talent, but at this moment, regardless of the truth, agreeing was the best choice. I will reluctantly accept you. Ningxiu, the youthful guest, still spoke in a raspy tone. Thank you for your mercy, sir. Han Ming exclaimed with excitement, bowing her head again. When she lifted her head, she added, Congratulations, sir, for eliminating an immortal aptitude. Your own Qi number will greatly increase. Oh, what's the explanation for this? Ningxiu was curious. Han Ming said, According to the book's explanation, an immortal talent possessor is a darling of heaven and earth. Once they win, it's akin to crossing a tribulation or refining a goo, climbing over a mountain to see a new vista in life. In the near future, when your Qi increases significantly, opportunities often come your way. Ningxiu became more interested. Are there any other methods to increase one's Qi? Han Ming replied. Cultivation is the primary method. The stronger a cultivator's power, the greater their Qi. Borrowing power also works, but if not handled properly, it can lead to internal conflict instead. Additionally, there are some other treasures. For instance, in any major sect or prominent family, every cultivation kingdom has at least one significant treasure that can suppress Qi and regulate fortune. Ningxiu nodded. Make a handwritten copy of that book. Discussion on Qi. Yes, sir. Ningxiu continued. Any other texts you have that don't involve your sect's prohibitions, copy them as well. Han Ming responded again. Yes, sir. Ningxiu then inquired about the soul contract. Han Ming explained that this was a spell of the soul-devouring sect, allowing one to sign a contract with their soul, making it extremely reliable. The key was that the essence of Han Ming's cultivation lay in her soul. By signing a soul contract, Ningxiu could control her most effectively. Once signed, her life would be at Ningxiu's disposal with a single thought. Ningxiu studied the soul contract briefly and found himself unable to understand it. He decided to be cautious. Fortunately, gathering the materials and talismans needed for the contract would take time, so there was no rush. Although you've pledged allegiance to me, time is needed to verify your loyalty. You should perform well in the future, Ningzhu admonished. Han Ming lowered her head and softly replied, "Yes, sir." Ningzhu pondered for a moment, and before leaving, extended the chain, allowing Han Ming to move within half of the cell as a reward. Ningzhu hadn't anticipated such a significant gain from this meeting with Han Ming. He had learned about Yuan Dasheng's immortal aptitude. Understanding one's talent was a highly complex task. 3 golden core cultivators had searched Yuan Dasheng's corpse, yet none had discovered his immortal aptitude. It was only because I had Han Ming devour his soul that this unexpected result was uncovered. Righteous golden firmness can serve as excellent material for making mechanisms. Marvelous. Additionally, he had uncovered the secrets of qi. Discussion on qi is quite intriguing. Lastly, he had also subdued Han Ming. Of course, Ningzhu still had doubts about Han Ming's submission. At this moment, he wished he had Zhu Xuanji's methods to detect lies. Unfortunately, Zhu Xuanji's lie-detecting abilities were based on specific mana, spells, and golden eyes. These foundations were something Ningzhu completely lacked. Due to the presence of righteous golden firmness in Yuan Dasheng's corpse, it had to be dealt with later. In the meantime, Ningzhu needed to ensure Yuan Dasheng's soul remained weak to prevent it from being summoned to the palace. However, since Yuan Dasheng's body was already dead and could no longer nourish his soul, even if Ningzhu did nothing, according to natural laws, the soul would weaken continuously. Ningzhu needed to increase his monitoring to prevent any unexpected events. What was the best kind of enemy? A completely dead enemy. Until Yuan Dasheng's soul could be utilized, Ningzhu would keep a constant watch on it. Ningzhu closed his eyes and began today's reflection. The knowledge of qi provided him with deeper insight into himself, his exploration of the immortal palace, and the world at large. First, he thought of himself. If I am indeed a super talent with strong qi, it makes sense. Without parental protection, I grew up smoothly to the age of 16 and developed into a powerful figure, accumulating wealth that my uncle and aunt never did in their lifetimes. Since exploring the immortal palace, I have repeatedly encountered crises, but even in the worst situations, there was always a glimmer of hope, never being struck down permanently. For instance, his name had not been discovered by others, giving Ningzhu time to adjust. Or when Yuan Dasheng appeared unexpectedly. His timing of entry and exit avoided Meng Chong and others. Yuan Dasheng did not encounter anyone else, and the 3 major forces did not discover him, giving Ningzhu room to maneuver. Ningzhu then thought of Yuan Dasheng. Considering Yuan Dasheng, he also had several chances at life. If Ningzhu had not successfully changed his name or hadn't done so in time, Yuan Dasheng would have realized his real situation immediately. He would have been on alert and better prepared for Ningzhu's schemes. If Yuan Dasheng hadn't injured his soul for Yuan Er's sake and continued exploring the immortal palace, he might have encountered others. Although it would be disadvantageous, it might also provide an opportunity. If, during the Fire Persimmon Festival, when the mechanism monkey attacked Yuan Yuan Dasheng had not joined forces, the subsequent events would not have spiraled out of control. Ningzhu's plot would have failed. And if, during the chain explosions in the 1,000-year Fire Persimmon Forest, Yuan Dasheng hadn't cared for Yuan and huddled himself together, even with concerns about his surroundings, not using demonic arts, utilizing the peak level 5 elements mana could have protected him. He might have stayed conscious post-explosion. There is a qualitative difference between being conscious and unconscious. Finally, even if Yuan Dasheng had protected Yuan and fallen unconscious himself, he still had a sliver of hope. Zhu Xuanji might have been moved and intervened to help. If he had only lasted a bit longer, regained consciousness, or his soul entered the immortal palace, there were possibilities. It's a pity that Ningzhu acted in time, entering the situation decisively, with Yuan failing to protect his monkey uncle. Fate actually gave him many opportunities, but he didn't grasp them. It was because of Yuan drag. Ningzhu sighed inwardly, having deeper insights into the knowledge in discussion on qi. His thoughts surged within his divine sea, reviewing the entire process and constantly gaining new understandings. Huh! His myriad thoughts touched the treasure seal within his divine sea, leading to an unexpected discovery. Why has my Buddha heart devil seal been used so many times? Ningxiu had avoided using his Buddha heart devil seal in his recent covert operations due to his concerns about Zhu Xuanji. The most significant use was to command the mechanism monkeys to riot using the heart seal. With these monkeys destroyed by the formation, it was essentially wiping away the traces. Even if discovered, Ningxiu could provide a perfect explanation by saying he was the creator. Subsequently, he didn't use this treasure seal throughout his interactions with Yuan meticulously avoiding any tiny flaw. The various methods in the cultivation world were beyond count, and Ningxiu pursued absolute security. To Ningxiu, no matter how valuable the Buddha heart devil seal, it was merely a tool. Since it was a tool, its effectiveness depended on the user's skill. Over-reliance on any tool was unwise. Problems were bound to arise eventually. According to Ningxiu's knowledge, he hadn't used the Buddha heart devil seal many times. But now, upon contacting the Buddha heart devil seal, he found that the facts conflicted significantly with his impression. When did this happen? I used the Buddha heart devil seal not just once, but at least 3 or 4 times. Ningxiu couldn't help but be astonished. What was going on? This had never happened before.